Thank you very much once again. Welcome to this channel. And then today we are having this particular subject which is called public administration. This is N4. Okay, and then under this we are having a module 7. We are having module 7, and then we are talking about the executive authority. So bear in mind that we are talking about the executive authority, and ensure that you also understand the key concept that we have facilitated them on our previous module. And then we talk about the executive authority of the 3 levels of government. Okay. And then remember, we said that the provincial and the local. And then we are advised that after studying this, we can be able to know these particular work which can be entailed. And then, number one, we are saying that we are able to provide the political and administrative executive institutions and office bearers. Number two, to know all the objectives and the functions of the executive functionaries, functions of the functionaries in all 3 government levels. And we are able to describe the powers and the functions of the president. So we need to understand the powers and the functions of the president, Mr. Cyril Ramaphosa. And then we are saying, explain the powers and on his absence. We are saying that the deputy would take over and then would do those particular functions. And then let us talk about to describe the powers and the function that, and then to describe the powers and the functions of the executive council. So remember that we have said the premier is the head function in that office. And then we talk about these are the board members that are appointed and they're given power to better facilitate now powers and the functions of the city and the town councils. Remember, the town councils, they are the head of the town. They must oversee what is happening in the town. And then lastly, explain the powers and functions of the executive committees. So a concept, and then you need to learn them, okay? Without wasting time, let us move. All right. In the examination, we can be asked to draw the diagram of the political pair of the to the lowest person now, which is an office bearer. And then we are saying that at the nation, we have number one, the president. And we are saying the president is the head. Number two, the deputy president. So we are saying that in the absence of the president, the deputy president will therefore take over. And then number three, we've got the cabinet, having the president, the deputy president, and the different ministers that consist of the cabinet. And then after cabinet, we've got the different ministers, which they will administer different entities or organs of government. The Minister of Health will make sure that the health is taking place effectively. And then let us talk about the deputy minister. In the absence of a minister, the deputy minister will be given a proxy to ensure that the work it is done. Then we talk about the director general. So it is also known as the chief general. So he will be directing these organs in a rightful manner. And then under that, we've got the deputy director general. And then he is the second in command of the director general. And then under this, number 8, we are having the chief director. The chief director now, it is the chief in charge. And then under them, we've got the directors. We've got the deputy director. And number 11, we've got the assistant director. And lastly, we've got public officials. These are people now that are working for the government at the local government, at the central government, okay? And then number B, we look at the, this is a structure of authority on the provincial government. We have said that the provincial government is the second sphere of the government. And who is the head now of the executive council? And under that, we are having number 3, the provincial department. And then under them, we are having the head of department, and powers will be allocated from top to bottom. We've got the chief director. We are having the director, the deputy director, assistant director, and at this council. All right. And then if ever we have key concept of the work, whereby we look at number C now. Number C, it is the local government. And remember that we have said that the local government, this is the municipality. So the structures in the municipalities are located as follows. Number one, we've got the head, which is the city mayor. The mayor is the head now, is the first person, is the first resident on the town, is followed by the deputy mayor and the executive committee. So this is the board that is elected and basically by the city mayor, manager. And then under the city manager, we've got the city secretary, which will ensure that the secretary's secretarial activities are written and recorded. And then we've got the financial services and the city treasurer. And then we are having the executive managers in different directories. And then under that, we are having the example as a corporate service and the community service as an example. If ever we are moving on again, we can understand that in number 5, the cabinet, by referring to the following aspect. What is it that we want? We want the composition of the cabinet. So we are asking the question to say, who is in the cabinet? The cabinet consists out of the president, is the head of the cabinet, the deputy president, and the ministers. So these three people, they are the cabinet. And then we are saying the president appoints the deputy president and the ministers assign their powers and functions and can also dismiss them. So that is why time and again you would find that in the parliament, there is a reshuffling. Number B, we talk about the procedures of the cabinet. What procedures do they follow? The president presides over the cabinet meeting. So we are saying whoever is given power is the president. Number 2, the cabinet functions as the consensus-seeking body. So consensus, it means that all people, they agree on certain things. So at the cabinet, we've got to agree. And then we are saying the seeking body, the reflection of the spirit of the national unity. So we are saying we are not promoting each other, but we are seeing the objective of the nation. And each cabinet ministers administer and manages his own portfolio. What is a portfolio? This is the department. So he's managing his own or her own department in the accordance with the decision made by the cabinet. So we are saying that portfolio, it is the Department of Health, of Basic Education, of Sanitation, and so on and so forth. That can be for 6 marks. And number C, we talk of the state portfolio are created in the cabinet. Any 4 of the state portfolio that are created. Okay, so this it was the cabinet of 2016. So what is important is that people, they change time in and time again, remember? So what is important for you, it is only to focus on the right hand side of this, which is now the portfolio. So the portfolio is the department now. So later on, you will even check, try to make an activity whereby you are finding the latest people of these departments. So the president there, it is Mr. Cyril Ramaphosa, no longer Jacob Zuma. And then we've got the deputy president. We've got the minister of labor. You must look these different ministers, search them. And then the minister of communication, minister of economic development, minister of public works, minister of home affairs, minister of rural development and land reform, minister of agriculture, forestry and fisheries, minister of health, minister of water and sanitation, minister of international relations and cooperation, small business development, minister of planning, monitoring and evaluation. We've got the minister of the portfolio now of the mineral resources, minister of higher education and training, minister of public enterprise, minister of defense and the military veterans, the minister of social development, minister of telecommunication and the postal services, minister of science and technology. So all these ministers, they change over time. You need to check the latest ministers. And then we've got the minister of the justice and culture, minister of trade and industry, human settlement, basic education, police, state security, public services, transport, environmental affairs, human governance, and traditional affairs. So these are the different portfolios. And then number 3, you've got a question to say the threefold division of the authority of the state should fulfill certain requirements in the democratic state. And the question, it says, briefly explain the three authorities of the state. So the three authorities are legislative authority, which are vested in parliament; executive authority, they are vested in the president, who compiles a cabinet. So compilation of the cabinet, it is the president's duty to appoint the cabinet. And remember, the cabinet, we said that this is the president and the different ministers. It is vested in courts. They take decisions based on the verdicts and decisions of the courts. They are called the verdicts. Okay. And then if ever we are moving on again, you can see that we are having question 4. And then in this, we can understand to say, the question says, ministers are appointed by the president as the members of the cabinet for a specific portfolio. They are appointed to perform the functions stated in the acts of parliament and to implement governmental policies in their departments. So this is the function of the minister. So each minister will account for his department. And the question, it says, briefly explain the form. So what are those? Number 1, we've got functions as the members of the cabinet. So we are saying ministers can function as the members of the cabinet. Number 2, they function in a parliament. And they function as the political office bearer, whereby they represent their political nature in terms of political parties. We talk about the functions as the leaders in the ruling political party is also taking place, and that it can be for a maximum now of 8 marks. If we are moving on again, we've got question number 5. The premier of the province has the powers and functions entrusted to him. So the key concept, we are talking about the premiers and his powers and function by the constitution and other legislation. Briefly state 6 functions that he or she can perform without consulting the executive council. So number 1, we've got to understand that he appoints and dismisses the executive council member. He convenes executive council meeting. He decides on that. He assents to and signs the bills. Remember that bills, they are in negotiation, and after the bills have been admitted, they would be laws now. Refer the bill to the legislature for the consideration. So refer the bill to the Constitutional Court for a decision on the bill's constitutionality, to summon the provincial legislature to an extraordinary sitting to conduct urgent matters, to dissolve the provincial legislature, and to call an election after a vote of no confidence in the executive council has been passed by the legislature. In performing all other functions, the premier exercises his power together with the executive council. This includes, so we are saying that the further powers of the executive council, it also includes, number 1, he appoints the commission of inquiry. This is a group of inquiry that it inquires about corruptions and maladministrations that is taking place. And then I remember Busisiwe Mkhwebane and the Jacob Zuma's Inkandla case was being conducted by Advocate Mkhwebane. So remember that it calls for the referenda for the province. He assents to the provincial constitution. He implements provincial legislation. So let us understand that the word implement, it is to do something, and implement national legislation. He administers the province. He develops and implements the provincial policy. He coordinates the provincial administration and its department. He assigns powers and functions to the executive council, and that it can be for 20 marks. When we are moving on, we can see that we've got number 6. The question, it says that briefly discuss the role that the mayor of a town or a city fulfills of the local government. Number 1, we are saying he presides at the meetings of the executive committee. He performs duties, including any ceremonial function, and exercises the power delegated to the mayor by the municipal council or the executive committee. Number 3, The deputy mayor exercises the powers and performs the duties or not available. Or if the office of the mayor is vacant, the mayor may delegate duties to the deputy mayor, and that it is for 6 marks. When we are moving on, we've got question 7. It says explain the role of the town manager of a municipality. So remember that the town manager is the head of the administration of the municipal manager of a municipality, is subject to the policies and the directions of the and accountable for the formation of the development of an economic accountable administration. Number 2, we talk about a performance management system. Number 3, it must be responsive to the needs of the local community to participate in the affairs of the municipality. And then the other one, the management of the municipality administration is also taken into account. All right. And then if ever we are moving on again, you can see we've got the continuation. And then we've got to understand that you can implement the municipal integrated development plan. That is called the IDP. So this is the plan for 5 years of the municipality, whereby he will be monitoring the progress and the implementation of the plan, the management of the provision of services of the local community in a sustainable and equitable manner, the appointment of the staff subject to the Employment Equity Act, which was published in 1999, Act of 55 of 1998, the management effective utilization in the government organization. We need to ensure that we manage the staff and we train those particular people. And then let us understand that the maintenance of the discipline in the staff, superiors, they must make sure that the staff is disciplined at all times. The promotion of the sound labor relation and the compliance by the municipality with the applicable labor legislation, they need to adhere to that. Advising the political structure and the political office bearer of the municipality, managing communication between the municipality's administration and its political structure and political office bearers. If ever we are moving on again, we can see that the other aspect, it can be to carry out the decision of the political structures and the political office bearer of the municipality, the administration and implementation of the municipality by means of bylaws and other legislation, the exercise of any powers and performance of any duties delegated by the municipal council or subdelegated by other delegating authorities of the municipal manager. And then you must understand that you must also pass a facilitation of participation by the local community in the affairs of the municipality, and it needs to develop and maintain a system whereby community satisfaction with the municipal services is assessed. All right. And then if ever we are moving on again, we can see that we talk about the implementation of the national and provincial legislation, applying the other functions that may be assigned by the municipality. And then lastly, we are talking about as the accounting officer of the municipality, the municipal manager now, please take note, is responsible for, number 1, all income and expenditures of the municipality. Number 2, all the assets and the discharge of the liabilities of the municipality. Number 3, proper and diligent compliant with the applicable municipality finances management legislation. So you need to study that. And number 8, are deputy ministers part of the cabinet? No, they are not part of the cabinet, but they are also appointed by the president. They are not. So number 9, name the departments that they have, departments with the deputy. So you can see state security, sports and recreation, home affairs, water and sanitation, mineral resources, human settlement, transport, agriculture, science and technology, economic development, justice and correction. It has 2, public investment, labor, communication, small business development, telecommunication, public works, and cooperative traditional affairs. All right. And then if ever we are moving on again, we are to see it's endless. All the department state, they are having those deputies. And then if ever we are going on again, we move to number 10. So we move now to number 10, the question. right? And then this is the schedules now of Schedule 4, B, matters. So you'll be asked to list whereby now the energy and gas regulation, fire and fire municipal airports, municipal planning, municipal health services, municipal public transport, municipal public works, and the patroons, ferries, jetties, piers, and harbors, excluding the regulation of the international shipping. And then he has powers over habitation services limited to potable water supply system and sewage disposal system. All right. And then under Schedule beach cleansing, control of public nuisance, controls of undertaking that sell liquor to the public, and burial of animals, fencing and fences, licensing of dogs, licensing and control undertakings that sells food to the public, and local amenities, sports facilities, markets, municipal abattoirs, municipal parks and recreation, municipal roads, air pollution, pounds, public places, refuse removal, refuse dump and solid disposal, street trading, street lighting, traffic parking. All right. And then those eyes that we need to take into consideration. And the last question, now we are hearing question 11, whereby the question it says list 5 functions government. Any 5? Number 1, determine policy for the management of various provincial departments. Number 2, members of the Executive Council must administer and manage their provincial departments in the accordance with policies laid down by the Executive Council. The Premier must also assign the members of the Executive Council any powers and functions of any other members who is absent from the office or is unable to exercise those powers and functions. The members of the Executive Council are individually accountable both to the Premier and to the provincial legislature. They assign powers to the municipality. They may intervene when the municipal council does not follow regulations. They become responsible for the task given to them by the Premier. That is for 10 marks. Thank you very much for your time. I hope you enjoyed the lesson and ensure that you are referring back to the previous lesson. At MATRIC+NATED Special